Hey guys, Logan Clemens here, freelance event producer, and I'm so excited to be with you guys for another video about my favorite event planning tips and tricks, as well as my journey as being a business owner. Woo! Today we're going to tackle something that might be applicable to you if you are looking to start your own new business. Today I'm going to tackle 3 things that I learned in my first year of being a business owner. Now, 5 years ago, if you had taken me aside and said, hey Logan, you're going to be running your own business, I probably would have called you crazy because I would say I didn't have a typical start to my entrepreneurial journey. I didn't have a new invention that I wanted to do. I didn't have this dream of running a big business. I kind of stumbled into owning my own business, which maybe right now you might be feeling that way too. The core reason that I started working for myself was because I was working at a job at an agency, doing marketing, doing events, and I knew I loved what I did, but I was also unhappy, and I couldn't figure out what was making me unhappy. I didn't really understand, but I knew that we worked with freelancers as an agency, and so there was an opportunity where I could actually scale back, leave full-time, start working for myself, become a freelancer, and still work with my old agency, and that would help at least pay the bills. So I knew I had that figured out. But other than that, I kind of, started my own entrepreneurial journey because I wanted to learn more about myself. Seems selfish, I think, now that I actually think about it. But not so much that I wanted to change the world with my grand ideas, but I wanted to make sure that I was happy and enjoying what I was doing. And in the crazy world that I was in, I didn't really have the space or the time or maybe even the energy to figure that out for myself. But what I loved about starting my own business is it gave me this flexibility, both to learn about myself and grow and develop, but also to learn about the work that I loved and getting to go after those opportunities. And so that was the big driver, I think, when I first started my business, was realizing that I was creating space to grow. Now, when I started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm not gonna lie. I knew I'd worked with freelancers before, so I knew it was a lot of what I was already doing full-time, but now just doing it for myself. But I don't think I knew exactly what I was biting off when I said, okay, Logan, we're going off on our own. First thing I learned was your business is going to take you on a roller coaster. And just like a roller coaster, there are some super high highs and there are some super low lows. But the more important part of the roller coaster is it just keeps going. It goes through the ups, it goes through the downs, it goes through the loop-de-loops and sideways and twists and turns and whatever it is, but it keeps going. And I couldn't think of a better analogy than roller coaster because honestly, it did feel like that some days. There were some days where I woke up and something had happened and I was like ecstatic. Like, this is the best thing I've ever done working for myself. And then there were other days where it was like, this is the worst thing I could have ever done. Why would I ever do this? But my big core thing was that I kept moving. I kept going, and those bad days didn't stick around. Just like sometimes all the good days don't always stick around. But I will say my guiding star for myself with my business has always been, as long as the good days outweigh the bad days, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep working for myself because I will say, man, those great days, when things pay off, when certain projects come in that you never thought you'd ever get a chance to work on, that feels great. When someone pays you what you feel like your work is worth, that feels great. When you have to sit there and pull your hair out because you have to learn how to file your own taxes and business expenses and all that stuff, okay, not so great. But it gives you and sets you up for these awesome experiences that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So no matter what kind of venture you're going into as you start your own business, it's going to be a roller coaster, and that's okay. For some reason, roller coasters are the most popular ride at amusement parks, and for some reason, we constantly keep going on them all the time, no matter if they're really scary or not. So that's kind of what I think about when I think about running my own business, is you're on a roller coaster, and it's a really, really fun one. It's going to have some scary moments, but overall, it's going to be really memorable. The second lesson that I learned from running my own business was only you can manage your own energy. One of the positives of working for yourself is you no longer have a boss or a manager, and that can feel great, especially if you've ever had a bad boss or a bad manager. You're like, woo, yes, just me, focusing on me. But then the problem is some of the good things about bosses and managers is they're there as kind of a sounding board to help let you know when you've worked too much, or reminding you, hey, you have vacation time to use, or hey, we just had this project, let's just take it easy tomorrow. You don't have that anymore. And as I started my own business, I learned that I'm the only person who's going to manage my energy. You don't have coworkers who are going to go grab coffee to kind of burn off some steam. You don't have people who are going to remind you that you haven't taken a day off in weeks. It's really just you. And so you are responsible both for motivating yourself to get the work done, but also motivating yourself to turn it off. And so my first 6 months of running my business, I felt like I was going 1,000 miles a minute. I was so excited and passionate about what I was doing. I was getting after new projects. It was really fun. But I also realized after my first 6 months, I hadn't taken like a single vacation, and I love travel and I love going places, and I wasn't doing that, which is kind of probably the reason like I wanted to be on my own and start my own business, was to have that flexibility. So I learned that I had to make 2 changes for myself to adjust my work practices. And one, I started doing CrossFit, which I know some people hate CrossFit, but I needed a structured workout routine with a good group of people who were going to keep me motivated. And I also decided I was going to delete Messenger from my computer. Now, before I lived in Seattle, I lived in Shanghai, and I worked abroad in China, and so they use WeChat. It's like the equivalent of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger, texting, everything combined. Everyone uses it for friends and for work. So my clients were messaging me on it in addition to my friends. And I had it on my computer so I could constantly see when messages were coming in. Now, the negative was I could constantly see when messages were coming in, and it was very distracting when I was trying to do some bigger projects that required a lot more focus. If I constantly was, oh no, like there was another message. And sometimes it was urgent and sometimes it wasn't. And so I started to realize that if I deleted it off my computer and I just had it on my phone, then I was making the choice of when I wanted to be reacting to all of the situations or if I wanted to not. I could turn it off, I could hide my phone, just put it in do not disturb, whatever it was, but I would have to take an action of picking up my phone and looking at the screen to look at the notifications instead of what it was feeling before when it was on my computer, like I was just then having to react exactly to what was going on versus getting to control my time. And my third and final tip for what I learned during my first year as a business owner is your sales matter. Now, before I started working for myself, I was working in digital marketing as well as events, and so I was very comfortable with social strategy, with creating a website, with writing blog posts, with doing social media posts. I also was super comfortable with the client work side of things, with having a retainer contract with them and working through different strategies over prolonged periods of time and short periods of time. Now, the part I wasn't great at was the sales part. And I didn't realize when I first started, I knew I would have my old company I could work with. And so that was like, okay, base sales done. Unlike if I was running a company that was launching a product, my product is a service. And so I would say my sales targets compared to the multi-million, billion-dollar companies out there are pretty low. They're good for me, but I knew it took more time to get these fewer projects. I wasn't trying to target 1 million people, but I would like to have events all the time, and so I needed to be proactive. And something that I realized was if I was too focused on my current client work, my new client work or my sales leads would just fall to the wayside. I would stop thinking about them, and I wouldn't think about them until all of a sudden my client work was done, and I went, oh no, I need new clients. As I was building my business, I realized how much sales drive your business. And I had to learn what CRM stood for doing all my client management, and I had to get better at doing cold emails and cold calls, and it's taken time. I also learned I need to have business cards with me no matter where I go because it's helpful to hand out to people when you go to events and they want your contact information. So I'm not perfect. This first year, I definitely was still crafting exactly what I wanted my business to look like, and so my sales strategy kept changing a little bit. The roller coaster feeling was very real. And I was also learning how to balance myself as a business owner and as an employee of one. All those things, though, I hope I gave you a very positive outlook on running your own business because I know I loved it. This was back in 2016. October of 2016, I started my business. So these are lessons that I learned from October 2016 to October 2017. We're now in 2020. I've learned so many more lessons, so I'm definitely going to take time to write those down and then share them with you guys because the joy of working for yourself comes from that fact that you're constantly learning and growing and you're constantly evolving, and it's amazing. And hopefully this inspired you to think more about what you need in your toolkit as you look to start your own business. As always, please subscribe below. Click the little ding button. I keep doing that. Click the bell to turn on notifications so you know the minute I drop a new video every single Monday. Please dislike if you didn't like this, you wanted to hear more about events and not about my business. Comment below if you're starting a business or have any other questions. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you learned something new and had some fun along the way. Once again, I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.